you win a game like you did the other night, how does that build momentum going forward when things maybe aren't going your way?
You know, I thought that I didn't think it was a game where I didn't like the way we played the game before that. And so this game, I thought we did a lot of good things. We generated a lot of chances, a lot of opportunity. The game's not going our way in the sense that it didn't go to 1 goal, to 2 goals, to 4 goals, to empty net goal, you know, whatever. It didn't unfold that way. And so what I did like about the game, last game, was that we were persistent and we stayed with it, and the guys never faltered or wavered with their plan. I don't think that we talked about it, not going out in the third period and having to play this high risk, high gamble hockey. Like, we could just stay with it and we could score a goal at a minimum. We could, just inside of a game plan, we could at least get one and push it to an extra frame. And I like the fact that we did that, and we were consistent with our approach, and we didn't gamble all over the place. And so it was good to get back on track. The question you're asking, I think, is more if you've been stumbling for a while and you find you pull out a game like that. I don't think that's the case. I think that we've looked at a couple of games that have been blips in the radar where we're disappointed with the way we played, and we try to fix it and get back on track with it. So.
Do you think Mika's line is generating enough 5-on-5?
I do think that they've had a lot of looks and a lot of chances. Every game's a little bit different. So there's a couple games on the road there where I thought that they were really, really good. And then sometimes they maybe get a matchup or whatever it might be. But I do think that they're generating.
Jonathan Quick, obviously near the top of a lot of leaderboards statistically, but beyond the numbers, what have you liked most about his game so far this year?
Well, I love the way he competes in practice. I think that that's just part of his DNA and has been his whole career, and why he's, had the career that he's had. And so that sets a great tone in practice for everybody. You see a guy coming in here that works that hard. And Chesty's the same way. I think when your goaltenders are hard working like they are and want to get better, it's everybody else has got that fall in line mentality. But from the start, and Benny, he talks more specifically about this, but it always seems like he's in position to me. He seems focused, he's in position. It's not real acrobatic. It's just he's in the right place. He's seeing things well, and he's made big saves and had big games for us. But the positioning for me has been really good.
You mentioned Benny. I know you hadn't really worked with him previously. Yeah. So what have you learned about him, his approach, and what's made him so successful as a goalie?
I think Benny has a really good relationships with his goaltenders. He has them out, and he works with them, individually, and takes care of some stuff that he wants to work on, and then through practice they communicate well together. And I think he's done a really good job of. I think he's very knowledgeable about the position, and with that knowledge, I think he's a good communicator and a good teacher.
He seems like he's always.
He is. Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah.
I agree.
What's the challenge in Nashville? You faced them earlier.
Yeah, they're a hard-working team. I mean, they compete, they work hard, and any team that doesn't do that, if that's not the minimum that you bring, you probably find it a long and difficult night. And so, for me, they're a team that they get what they earn by their work ethic, and so that has to be on the forefront for us.
Did you pick up much of the culture there when you were down there?
The country?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I never listened to country music before I got there. Not one song ever in my life. Well, I mean, I'd hear some old classics or whatever. And we went to the awards show, and when we first got hired there, it was June. It was the summer one, and I didn't know anything about it. And so I put on that country music channel all day, and I listened, and I started to figure out who the artists were. And by the time it was over, I absolutely loved it. I mean, that's all I listen to now is country.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't listen to anything else. Once in a while, I'll go back to, kind of like the rock of my high school years, like
60s.
Springsteen. No, not that old, Larry. Jeez, not that old. Springsteen and, Bob Seger and Tom Petty and those type of bands back, put some of that on. But for the most part, it's been country.
Great food city too.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, it's the Midwest, and so it's a little bit different. But I mean, it's just the town. Even from when I moved there to now, I mean, you think about when they first started. I saw some pictures to where it is now. It's amazing, the development. In the time that I was there, it was amazing, the development. And now, even from the time that I left to what it is now, you go back there, and it just blows your mind how many more buildings are up down there. So, pretty good place.
Brodzinski, what do you see in his game that you've put him on the second power play now?
He's a guy that was. I love his speed and I love his compete. I love the fact that he shoots the puck. He'll bring the puck to the net, and you know, he down in the American Hockey League level. He was a guy that was one of the top offensive players, #1 power play, #1 line, maybe #1 in scoring when he got called up.
Yeah.
#1 in scoring when he got called up. And so for me, when you recall a person, because you're looking for something, I think you have to put them in a position where they can be successful. And so, you know, had we needed a penalty killer and a checker, we might have gone in a different direction, and that person would have been inserted into that role. And so this is an opportunity for him to come up and show what he can do.
Coaches always talk about other guys having to step up when guys go down, but this team, the way it has embraced it so far, right, challenge.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly miss the guys that have been out of the lineup and that remain out of the lineup. But I'll be honest, we don't ever really think about it or talk about it. It's more about what we need to do in order to be successful. It's more about the opponent and the pre-scout and what we need to do. And I think our guys have been really business-like with that approach, and I think they've handled it really well.
Jimmy was saying the other night that he knew a lot of his career NHL goals have been game winners. I looked it up. It's 25 out of 88 goals, which is over 28%. Is that a coincidental stat, you think, or are there reasons that he's coming up clutch in those situations?
I think he's a player that plays the game hard, that has created offense his entire life, and you know, oftentimes when you do get to the highest level, which he's in now in the league, I think some players figure out different ways to still to contribute and to add value to a team, but that doesn't mean that they weren't once a very talented player in playing pee-wee hockey or playing high school or playing college hockey, but they get more to their game. And so, you know, you see him on a line like that I count on to go out and play some hard minutes against top lines. That doesn't mean that he's not going to be able to score goals, because he has a skill level that I think is very good.